Well, hey everybody, it's time for another weekly edition of Check Your Schedule with 17's entertainment expert Rick Bentley. And of course, we wanted to talk about all of the great things that are happening this week because we are now the week before spring break. So many people heading out to go and enjoy, but there's more to do before that.
Yeah, everybody packs it in this week and then you get a little bit low. Then it gets back again before school gets out. So we have a lot going on.
We do indeed. So we wanted to start with a special preview of one of the biggest events coming to town this weekend.
Yeah, the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo comes thundering into town April 4th and 5th at the Dignity Health Center. The greatest show on hooves is celebrating 40 years of bringing extreme entertainment to the masses. It includes some of the most talented rodeo athletes, livestock, and specialty entertainers. Now the tickets start at $16 each, with the fun kicking off at about 7:30 each night. I had a chance to talk with Garrison Panzer, who's the production manager for the event, gave me some insights into what will be happening.
Hey, you're gonna have to clear something up for me.
Okay.
I think the simple fact of cinching yourself to a 2,000-pound beast is extreme enough, and yet you're calling this the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo. How does it get tougher?
Man, that's a tough question to start out the day. I appreciate you using our name brand in the question too. You know, that's all about the brand recognition. But
Exactly.
the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo isn't even all about the cowboys and the personnel that we have. It's about the livestock as well. That's what we're proud of too, is showcasing some of the best livestock in the nation. And for next week's event in Bakersfield, we're going to have bucking stock from the Flying U, a California-based rodeo company. C5 Rodeo, based out of Canada, Lac La Biche, Alberta. We'll have some livestock from it's a Rory Lemmel Bucker livestock from South Dakota and Texas. We'll bring in some Muddy Creek Rodeo Company bucking stock from South Dakota, and just kind of a whole conglomerate. But when you have a cowboy that's willing to climb aboard an animal that has been bred and born, the genetics are designed for them to essentially get the cowboy off their back as fast as possible. That's the toughest sport on dirt, truly.
Oh, no question in my mind. And you're gonna have to forgive me if I ask stupid questions because I've been known to be thrown from a merry-go-round. So I'm I'm definitely not rodeo material. But when we talk about livestock and the cowboys, is there a lifespan? Is it, obviously cowboys, the body gets beat up. Does that same thing happen with the livestock?
Yeah, cowboys, a lot of them you're going to see start at an early age. They're going to start out, with their moms and dads and everyone, following them in their footsteps, going to all the local rodeos, competing at, jackpots and youth events, mutton bustings at the pro rodeos. And then you see them go on. And a lot of our rough stock guys, they start out riding steers, colts, then they go on to our larger pro animals. But bucking stock's kind of similar. You start them out at an early age, you buy them from sales, or you breed the animals to yield some younger generations of that bloodline. And then you can generally get, 10 to 15 years out of a bull. You can get about 25 years out of a horse. Kind of how you typically see it go. But as with anything, they just get older. They start to not buck as hard. So you repurpose them to either practice animals or, you can see them go on to being, a lower string, lower caliber bucking animal that you take to different events. But the one thing that I think is most important that I say about our bucking stock is they are better taken care of than we are. The animals, the livestock housing that we line up for them, the way they're treated on the road, you think about a trucker that's going to haul goods across the country. They have requirement of hours that they can go. And I don't know off the top of my head what it is, but let's say it's 10 hours that they can drive, and they have to stop for so many hours, and they go. Well, somebody hauling livestock, they're going to go about 5 hours. They're going to pull over, going to find a place to kick the animals off, let them stretch their legs, move around a little bit, maybe water them, feed them. They're going to jump back on the trailer. They're going to drive another 5 hours. They're going to go. So what would maybe take a cargo trucker 10 hours to do is going to take a livestock handler about 13 hours because they have to stop, water the animals. You know, their life on the ranch is very glamorous. You know, the running joke in the rodeo world is, if you believe in reincarnation, you want to believe that you're going to come back as a bucking bull or a bucking horse, because you're going to work 8 seconds a night, maybe twice a weekend, and then you're well fed, well taken care of, and it's a pretty good life.
That was just the coolest insight, so much that I had never heard or learned before.
Yeah, I think that's the one. You know, so much of it sort of see the bucking broncos and the steers and everything, but it really is a great sport. I mean, and, talk about athletes. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And I love the fact that, you know, this is an extreme version. It's like, just strapping yourself to a 2,000-pound steer, that's extreme enough for me. Doesn't need to go any further.
I could never imagine doing that myself. But I also love that when you talk to those cowboys and cowgirls, they talk about what an athlete their animals are.
Exactly.
That they are also in their prime and that they are being taken care of and they are the stars of the show in their own right.
Yeah, and it's funny because, you know, we always worry about animals, and they are probably protected more than the cowboys and cowgirls in this sort of thing. And you know, they have a life. They eventually, you know, once they're not at the peak of their, just like any athlete, they go to a minor league version of it, and then they go out to pasture. And so, you know, they are well taken care of. And like the guy was saying, it's like they work about 8 minutes, and then they're done for the week. It's like, okay, we all need that job.
Living a good life.
Exactly.
I love that. Speaking of a great job, I would love to be a comedian. I'd be terrible at it. But we have another great comedian coming to town this week.
Yeah, it's something completely different. Okay, so if you're looking to laugh, comedian Felipe Esparza is going to bring his At My Leisure World Tour to the Fox stage on April 4th. Okay, since winning NBC's Last Comic Standing in 2010, Felipe has worked hard to solidify his place among sort of the top touring headliners that's working today. He's got 4 successful stand-up specials under his belt at HBO and Netflix, and his popular What's Up, Fool podcast. He's been holding steady as a top comedy podcast for the last 10 years.
Wow.
Can you imagine doing anything for 10 years and making success out of that?
No.
Okay, in addition to his stand-up success, Felipe has started to make a name for himself on the small and big screen with recurring roles on the TV shows such as Superstore and the Eric Anders Show.
It's very
lot
cool.
more.
And a lot more. So just a couple of his claims to fame. And then the next day on April 5th, this is cool as well.
Okay, so on April 5th, you can step in the world of elegance, passion, and breathtaking artistry as the Bakersfield City Ballet presents Ethereal Visions. This is an unforgettable evening of dance. Okay, this stunning spring performance features a sort of a mesmerizing blend of classical and contemporary ballet, showcasing the company's extraordinary talent. You can experience the beauty of Kingdom of the Shades from Le Bayadère, one of the most iconic and ethereal scenes in classical ballet. Okay, complementing this classic is Into the Deep, something I can pronounce, a captivating new work by local choreographer Emily Ramirez. This bold and evocative piece draws inspiration from the vast and mysterious depths of the ocean.
That is so cool. So you'll hear all of these different names, and it's an overall showcase with several different pieces being performed. And these young ballerinas, I've seen them dance before. They are teenagers to early 20s and so incredibly talented. And I love that they get that big stage to show off what they've been working on.
And again, we talked about the rodeo being these great athletes. I am convinced that dancers are the greatest athlete on the planet, especially ballet dancers who dance on their toes. And I know somebody who grew up as a ballet dancer, and her toes are mangled to this day. You know, they go through pain and suffering. But when you watch a ballet dancer, and what I love about ballet is that it's just not one. Ballet has a lot of different versions to it. It can be very modern. It can be very classical. And so to see these wonderful athletes out there on the stage, don't miss the opportunity. And I know it's ballet. You're going to balk about that, but I'm going to tell you, just look at it as like an athletic, like a competition, because they are truly wonderful athletes.
And just so graceful and floating, and I just love it. So that's at the Fox. Over at the Nile Theater, we also have a big show.
Yeah, it's everything downtown. It's really busy down there. At the Nile Theater, Ian Bagg will take the stage on April 5th. Okay, this is part of a non-stop across North America that's also taken him to Australia, China, and the Middle East. This is the guy who placed in the finals of NBC's Last Comic Standing. And he's made appearances on Late Night with Conan O'Brien and The Tonight Show. His fast-paced, multi-direction show has made patrons want to see multiple shows on a weekend. Now, his audience becomes the characters in his performance as they answer questions. So be prepared to be part of the show. Most comedians have a monologue, and Ian has a dialogue.
I love that. It makes it fun, so then every show is different.
Exactly. So yes, so if you've seen him somewhere else, you're going to see a different show. And I love that fluidity of a comic act. I've seen comedy acts that are good, who have a set, and they do it, and they do it, and they do it, and they do it for a year and a half, maybe slipping in a joke here or two there. But I love these ones where you never know what's going to happen. I mean, it's like you walk in and you think it's going in one direction, and then boom, the comedy goes in a different direction.
And it shows how clever they are and talented as comedians as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And another big one happening April 5th.
Well, this is where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
So on April 5th, the 29th annual Stockdale High Book and Collectible Show will be held at the school located at White Lane and Buena Vista. I'm a Star Wars geek, so I'm going to be there. And I'm also a comic book geek, so I'm a geek of all things. The event starts at 10 a.m. and will go until about 4 p.m. There will be dealers, a cosplay contest, raffle, and celebrity guests. Okay, the best part, now get this, there's no charge for parking or to get in. You can't beat that price. I mean,
so
unless
cool.
they stood at the door and hand you $1.
Right.
But I mean, come on, it's free. And how many times can you go to a convention, a Comic-Con? I mean, WonderCon was just recently, and tickets were, triple digits.
Ooh.
So when you talk about that compared to free, and I've been to this show several years in a row, and there are really, if you want to find some deals and buy some great stuff, it's there to be found. So just go out, and especially if we can depend on our weather people to give us a nice day.
I'm working on it.
It will be just a wonderful day to spend the day with the entire family. Again, one of those things we like to find here is things that the family can do all together. And this is one of those, because you've got kids' books, you've got books, you've got graphic novels, you've got statues, you've got all sorts of things. And if the kids want to dress up, there's that cosplay competition. So there's a little bit for everybody at this show. I would recommend highly going out.
This is so great. And then the next day on April 6th, I found a sweet event that I shared with you, and I loved that you thought it was so cute too.
Yeah, I love this. On April 6th, you can stop by Hart Park for the Peacock Party.
That's so cute.
Yes. Okay, this is an event celebrating more than 90 years of peacocks at the park. It's going to run from noon to 4 p.m. I think we have a sort of a love affair with the peacock here at KGT and NBC. But beyond that, how can you not like peacocks? I guess unless it's your neighbor's got one in the early morning, it begins to.
My neighbor does have one. They cry like an infant.
They do it. It's an interesting sound.
Yeah.
But again, this is one of those great things, like having a friend who has a baby.
Yeah.
You can go visit and then go away, and you don't have to listen to the crying anymore.
Exactly. And so 4 hours, a beautiful day at the park and learning more about the peacocks and Hart Park itself. So we also want to talk about movies because you're our entertainment expert. So let's talk about our weekend ahead.
I would love an entertainment expert. We should do this.
Air quotes.
Okay. Okay. The long-awaited Minecraft movies finally make it to the theaters. Okay, what this is you've got 4 misfits who find themselves struggling with ordinary problems when they are suddenly pulled through a mysterious portal into the overworld. If you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. It's a bizarre, cubic wonderland that thrives on imagination. Okay. You may think they're stuck, but to get back home, they'll have to master this world one block at a time and protect it from evil things like piglins and zombies, while embarking on a magical quest with an unexpected expert crafter that's played by Jack Black. We haven't seen Jack in a long time, so he's back on the big screen. Okay, together their adventure will challenge all 5 to be bold and to reconnect with the qualities that have made each of them equally creative. The very skills that they need to thrive back in the real world will be put on display in this very blocky universe. Again, it's the latest movie to be based on a video game. So a lot of them, it's surprising when you start looking into how many films, and a lot of people don't realize that there are films like Tomb Raider that was based on a video game. Resident Evil was based on a video game. There was last year, there was Dungeons and Dragons. We know that was based on a board game. So, but Hollywood loves to go back to that because there's a familiarity to it. How well they pull that off, that's to be seen. And so we'll see when I certainly want to talk about that movie on a future episode.
We're very excited for that because I know my kids at least can't wait to see it. So also scheduled to open are Freaky Tales. This is the newest Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal movie. It's 4 interconnected stories that are set in 1987 Oakland, California. It will tell the story about love of music, movies, people, places, and memories beyond our knowable universe.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So then that's out of Oakland, and then there's another one.
Yeah, also opening this weekend as well is the romantic comedy, A Nice Indian Boy. With when Naveen brings his fiancée home to meet his traditional Indian family, they must contend with accepting his white orphan artist boyfriend and helping them plan the Indian wedding of their dreams. I had a chance to talk with the director and the star of this movie, and it's a very interesting take. It's a very non-traditional, traditional romantic comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, the romantic comedy parts there of, 2 people meet, they fall in love, and they fall apart. And will they get back together? Well, it's a romantic comedy. You know how it's going to end. But the fact that you bring in the Indian element, the religion element, you bring in the fact that this is an Indian family dealing with a gay son. There's a lot of things that make it very different from a rom-com, but at the heart of it is a very traditional story about finding love. And on a future date, I'll present that interview I did with the star and the director.
I like when you're able to sit down with both of them because they see such different sides of the movie as it's being created.
And one interesting note, those 2 are dating.
Cute.
Yeah, the star and the director.
Oh, sometimes that doesn't work out for the best,
well,
but the movie's out now.
I asked about that, and you'll see later on what they said.
Perfect. Okay, so what if we are staying in for the weekend? You always know the latest that's coming out on DVD and streaming.
Yeah, I have a few suggestions when it comes to DVDs and Blu-ray. Yes, and there are DVDs and Blu-rays still out there. Okay, there are a lot of options available, starting with the horror film Companion. Okay, this is a creepy story of a strange romance, talking about weird rom-coms, that turns very dangerous as a weekend turns bloody and violent when a subservient android that's built for human companionship goes haywire.
Oh, it's a robot. It's not just a girl.
No, she's a humanoid, android, cyborg, however you want to talk about it. Yes, she's not real.
And it's a horror.
It's a horror film because there are twists that have to do with murder. I don't want to give too much away. This is one of those fun ones. It's quirky. I thought they had sort of a similar story with Megan.
Yeah.
But this one works a little bit better because the robot is adult.
Okay.
And so all the interaction, it seems much more feasible.
Okay.
Yeah, and still scary.
There you go. So there are a lot of people who like that. What if you're looking for releases for young viewers out there?
Well, as much as it pains me to suggest this, I like giving ideas about movies that are good for the family. Mufasa: The Lion King is available. Now, Mufasa is the live-action film that's based on the animated Lion King. It explores the unlikely rise of the beloved king of the Pride Lands. Mufasa: The Lion King enlists Rafiki to relay the legend of Mufasa to young lion cub Kiara, who's the daughter of Simba and Nala, with Timon and Pumbaa lending their signature shtick. It's all told in flashbacks, and the story introduces Mufasa as an orphan cub, lost and alone until he meets a sympathetic lion named Taka, the heir to a royal bloodline. The chance meeting sets in motion an expansive journey of an extraordinary group of misfits searching for their destiny. Their bonds will be tested as they work together to evade a threatening and deadly foe. Now again, I love finding films that are good for the family to watch together. This one may be a little too intense for young kids. If you remember from the original Lion King, there are scenes of animals fighting each other. You can kind of get away with that in an animated version, but when you're doing it live action, seeing those animals fighting each other becomes a little bit too intense, and I worry about young people with it. I also have one big problem when it comes to sequels, prequels. We know that as long as the main character, he could be facing 1,000 crocodiles over a burning pit with an asteroid coming and 1,400 gunmen shooting at. he's going to survive because
Yeah.
he's there for the later
Next
film.
one.
So prequels always have that built-in, I'm not going to worry about it because they're safe as it is.
So then the other one coming out for families, I'm excited about this. We didn't get to it in theaters, but I
Right.
want to check it out with my kids.
Yeah, Dog Man is based on the very popular book series. Okay, it's when a faithful police dog and his human police officer owner are injured together on the job. There's this harebrained idea of the life-saving tree that puts the two of them together, and Dog Man is born. So as Dog Man embraces his new identity and strives to impress his chief, he must stop the pretty evil plots of feline supervillain Petey the cat. Petey's latest plan is to clone himself, creating the kitten Little Petey to double his ability to do crime stuff. Okay, things get complicated though when Little Petey forgets an unexpected bond with Dog Man.
Okay. So again, that was very popular. My kids always brought home the books from the
Yep.
library. And so we didn't get to see it on the big screen, but it's one of those that we can just check out without having to pre-screen it as a family.
No, this is fine. This is
great.
good. The book series is wonderful, and the movie really captures that book series. So I would highly recommend this over Mufasa.
Okay, and so with that, there's also another film that we wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about.
Yeah, film that I liked was The Green and Gold. It's available through digital platforms. I talked with Madison Lawyer, the star of the film, about a family trying to save its farm.
Your character deals a lot with the farm and a lot with animals. Did that come naturally? Did you feel comfortable with that? Or was that something that kind of split your focus from acting?
What really inspired me, we were at these real farms with these people who this was their life, and they were the ones teaching us how to do it, and seeing their comfort and how natural it was and the relationship that they had with the animals was really something I took note of, and I feel like all of that really adds to the performance. And
So's your chicken.
We have options, right?
We got,
You like salad?
I love salad.
we got potato salad or macaroni salad, green salad.
Love green salad. Green salad would be great, thank you.
This family in this film are passionate about the Packers.
oh yeah,
If you feel comfortable saying, is there something in your life, a team, a musician, or a type of film that you're that passionate about?
I'm really passionate about indie films. I think that it's really important to support independent filmmakers, and I try to see as many independent films as I can at different film festivals, and I think that I'm passionate about kind of finding and these stories that don't really have the marketing budgets and don't really get to be seen by as many people.
The motif. It's illuminating.
The what?
The motif.
Oh,
It's illuminating.
is it?
Absolutely.
All right, and so that's coming up on streaming. There's also TV shows that we always like to talk about.
Yeah, and again, I love the fact that we're living in a streaming age where there's a lot of stuff that we can pick from other than the network stuff that seems to fall into a rerun point of when the NCAA basketball is going in. But the big new addition is the new Hulu series, Mid-Century Modern. This series is from Ryan Murphy. Now, he's the man behind Glee and 911. It features Nathan Lane, Matt Bomer, and Nathan Lee Graham as three best friends who decide to move in together. I got to talk with Nathan Lee Green about the comedy.
Hey, forgive me, I'm going to steal a line from the 10th episode and say, you're my favorite. I'll let you break it to the others. And the reason I say that is Nathan's going to be Nathan, and Matt gets that sort of sweet, country boy, whatever we want to call that. Arthur seems to be the voice of reason, the friend that we would go to if we have somebody needed to talk to. Am I pegging him right?
I think you are pegging him right. If I'm going to be pegged at all, I think peg of my heart. I think you are, and I love him for that because that's where we sort of meet. Arthur and Nathan Lee Graham. I am that friend to people. That they do come to me for that sort of sage advice, and so I really connect with Arthur on that level, I must say.
Yeah. Well, when you got the sides to read about this, was he that way, or did they meet you and go, "Wait a minute, we're going to make him, the friend that in the house"?
I think that Max Muchnick and David Cohen actually thought of Arthur in this way. And then as we learn about each other, the writers learn my rhythms, my tempos, my timbre, it develops even more.
Yeah.
So I hope that that's a good answer because I think it's true.
Oh, it worked. Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. Hey, there was a lot of discussion during the press conference this morning about everybody having a theater background.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I've never done theater, so I have to ask what may sound like an idiot question, but I apologize. Is doing a show with 4 cameras where you know you have that fail-safe, you can do it again, is that a good thing for a stage actor, or is it bad because as a stage actor you gotta nail it every time? So is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's both, really. And because the multicam is a hybrid all unto itself, really. It's not single cam, it's not stage, it is its own beast. And in the theater, of course, you have lots of time to develop lines that are not going to change much, right? And so we have hopefully 4 to 6 weeks. And once the audience sees this performance, it's polished, it's well oiled, well honed, and you're looking at a performance that will grow over time because you get to repeat it in the same way. With the multicam, you sometimes get the line just before you say it. And so you're hoping that you are in a space where you know who Arthur is, or Jerry, or Bunny, or Sybil, so much that however the line's gonna come out, it's gonna come out as that character. You're just banking on that. And because the writers are already writing in that voice, it's so much more helpful. It's like walking a tight wire, a tightrope. It's just like, wow, I hope this is gonna pan out. And then of course, you inevitably flub the line. You don't feel so great doing it in front of an audience. And that's the difference between single cam and multicam. And single cam, yes, you definitely can do it over and over again, but you don't have the audience there to go, oh, he messed up. So it's a learning curve, but it's exciting and really fun.
That's very cool. I love that you get to sit down with these actors. After all these years, do you ever get starstruck?
No. I get nervous, but that's if I haven't done my homework. I found out a long time ago, if you're prepared and you know what you're talking about and you've seen the product, then there's no reason to, and I will admit, the fact that I've talked with people like Elizabeth Taylor or Charlton Heston or Tom Hanks, yes, when I flash back on my life, it's like, oh my gosh, I got to speak to people like that. But it's also people like, Nathan Lee Graham here, who a lot of people probably don't know his work. And I love being able to bring those sort of actors to the forefront and say, this guy's really talented. Yeah. Let's take a look. And they're always such great interviews. So it's just been a blessed experience to be able to talk to these people and to share that. And I love the fact that this station has embraced the idea that people like the idea that there's somebody local, that they actually have somebody that's there. It's one separation away from Hollywood with me. So
exactly, because I'm not going to go over the grapevine. I'm not part of that world, but I like getting the inside peeks, and you and I tend to agree a lot, so I'm always eager to hear your opinion.
And that scares me. Anybody agrees with me a lot, trouble.
And that's the great thing about opinions, is we're all going to have our own opinions, and sometimes we disagree, but for the most part, especially with my young kids, you always help me know, like, no, let's wait and not see that one in the theater because it may be too scary. But every parent is up to their own judgment.
And that's what I always tell people. Can my child see it? I don't know your child.
Right.
You could have a 3-year-old who's 21 mentally, or a 21-year-old who's a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
I can tell you what's in it. You make the decision. I'm not making it for you.
And it's always so helpful, and that's why we're going to see Dogman this weekend.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. We'll have another episode of Check Your Schedule with Rick Bentley coming up next week. Have a great day.